Today is Monday, September 23rd, and this is Spring Office Hours, Season 3, Episode 31, Buildpacks with Anthony Dahanne. My name is Dan Vega, Spring Developer Advocate at Broadcom, joined by my good friend and colleague, DaShaun. DaShaun, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. It's a great day to be a Spring developer, and yeah, I'm really excited. I've been working really hard. Spring 1 was amazing. I still have a bunch of threads that I'm working on to take advantage of all the things that have come out, all the new things that I've learned. But this episode is kind of exciting because it's kind of been a thread since the beginning of my time here in this role. And our good friend Anthony is here to, kind of help us through it. But we're going to get back to that in a minute. Hi, Anthony. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, it's a great time to be a Spring Developer Advocate and a great time to be a Spring developer.
Anthony, for anybody who doesn't know you, do you mind giving us a quick intro into who you are and what you do?
Yes, of course. Hello, Dan. Hello, DaShaun. Hello, everybody. So I have joined the Java Buildpack team 1 year and a half ago, 18 months ago. And as part of my duties, I have to maintain with my colleague David O'Sullivan at Broadcom, as well as with open source maintainers such as Dan Mikusa. We have to basically maintain the Java Buildpacks, V2 and V3. So V2, those are known as the Buildpacks that are default in Cloud Foundry, and V3 are the Buildpacks that help you build OCI images, also known as Docker images. But you can then deploy to Kubernetes or any OCI runtime. So not only we work on those build packs, but we also maintain a set of libraries, of Java libraries, that automatically configure your Spring Boot application so that without giving any credentials to your Spring Boot app, they will automatically discover and connect to your databases, for example. So this is also, this is kind of the main things that we do.
All the bindings, the automatic stuff, the things that make Buildpacks special and smart for your platform. I noticed you have a little bit of an accent. Where are you joining us from?
Yeah, that's true. So I am originally born in France, but I moved to Canada 15 years ago, and I'm living in the great city of Montreal, province of Quebec in Canada.
And one of the things I'm a big fan of, you are also a JUG organizer.
That's right. Yeah, I am one of the organizers of the Montreal Java user group. And this is a user group that we run an event every month, except during the summer. And we are like a team of 4 or 5 people trying to organize event every month. So it can talk about, of course, Java core technologies, but sometimes we welcome some other adjacent technologies such as JavaScript, containerization, and so on and so forth. So yeah, we have a pretty good community. That actually the next event is going to be this week, September 26th, and we'll be talking about open rewrites. So yeah, if you're in Montreal, just check it out.
I'm wearing the t-shirt.
Yeah, you're definitely in the theme, DaShaun. Yeah, very good. Exactly. Yeah.
And Anthony, I first met you in person last year at an event called Confu, which is in Montreal. It was an awesome event. Do you have any involvement in that? I know you're like the JUG is involved with that as well, but what level of involvement do you have with that particular conference?
Yeah, so with Confu, the Java user group, it's not just the Java user group, but Confu, the organizers, they reach out to many user groups in Montreal. And, sometimes we have collaborations, such as we have free tickets to give to our own communities. And also, personally, I've been helping out the organizers as a track advisor. So when there are some submissions of talk on Java or cloud, I will basically help rate them and just try to find out if they are suitable for a conference. So yeah, I am a benevolent advisor. Yeah.
Nice, and that's coming up in February of next year. So if you're in the area and you haven't gotten tickets yet, please check that out. It's an awesome conference. And we were talking about before this, but I've mentioned this before, but some of the best conference food I've ever had at a conference. Like, it was amazing. Like breakfast, lunch. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So I definitely want to get back there.
During spring office hours, one of the things we like to say is, when you come to my house for dinner, if you leave hungry, that's your fault. here during the live stream. If you're here and you have questions, ask them. And if you don't, that's your fault. Don't leave hungry. So our first question comes from our good friend Simon, and Simon is asking, do you in the Montreal JUG, do you record your JUG sessions? Is there a YouTube or something?
So we don't do that regularly. We have done it several times as part of events that we call first-time speaker events. So basically, we invite people who are not used to give presentations. So we invite them to give a talk about something that they work on for 10 to 15 minutes. And those talks usually are recorded because that's going to be used as those new speakers' portfolio, basically. Anyways, we don't do that regularly. We just do that for those type of events. Yeah, that's a good question. To be honest, after the pandemic, we were afraid to actually lose our physical audience for people who would actually prefer to sit back and relax at home. So we wanted really to emphasize the to be there in presence, for real. So honestly, this is something that could change. Yeah, that could change. But for now, yeah, unfortunately, no, we don't. But that could be changed.
Fantastic. And Dan, you're also involved with your local JUG, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you one of the organizers?
Yes.
Fantastic.
And we've found the same problems. Again, we are kind of downtown Cleveland where we hold our in-person meetings. So we found that like pre-COVID, people were downtown working. It was easy to pop over to a meeting and come check it out. And now not everybody's in the office. So it's like you're asking a lot for people to come from the suburbs down to downtown and check out a meeting. So we're fighting the same fight, experimenting with different things, trying to see what works.
Fantastic. I like the initiative as well of like trying to encourage. That's one of the things that I've been trying to do at the Kansas City Java User Group is I'm trying to pull more first-time speakers in and get them to present. For multiple reasons, to help out, help deliver more content, help encourage people to present more, and like it's all good things. One of the other things that we like.
I just wanted to mention, DaShaun, real quick. This is our live stream every Monday from 1 to 2, usually every Monday. Last week was special because JDK 23 was released and we got to talk to Billy, but usually this is our time slot. But if you're not here live, that's okay. You can catch the replay on the Spring Developer YouTube channel. And we turn this into a podcast. So tomorrow morning, this gets posted wherever you get your podcast. So do us a favor, check us out there. And if you get a chance, leave us a review. It kind of helps us out and we'd appreciate it. With that, as DaShaun said, please get your questions in. We'll see if we can get to them. Even if they're not totally related to Buildpacks, if they're in the Spring ecosystem, we'd be happy to answer that question as well. So cool.
Josh's favorite place is start.spring.io. One of my favorite places on the internet is calendar.spring.io. We like to talk about this. It's one of those activities that I think it's valuable for teams to have an idea of what's coming, what's been released. Do I need to update all my palms, etc.? And if you're like me, you get excited when there's new releases, milestone releases. You like to look ahead and see what new features are coming. So last week we got Spring Boot 3.3.4. I typically find out about these new releases of Spring Boot from my automation, the demos and the pipelines that I have. So that was that was a gift. I wasn't really expecting it. And here we are. But there's also a 3.4.0 milestone 3 that got released. That's exciting. So you can be looking ahead. We know that there's a Spring Boot 3.4 is coming in November, and some of us are watching our calendars more than others. But one of my other favorite projects, Spring Modulith, had some releases on Friday. So that's also exciting. And then on Monday, Spring Pulsar is a very interesting topic. We're going to speak with Chris Bono next week on the show, and we're going to talk about just streaming data, right? I think one of Dan's favorite, or I think most popular talks is about GraphQL, right? And kind of how we're going to access some of our data differently, with this not necessarily RESTful, but still, accessing that data across different places, options. And one of the other things is streaming data. We have options, and we're going to talk about that with Chris Bono next week. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that. So we like to do that. But today, there's our calendar. You can always go calendar.spring.io, make a bookmark. Today we're going to talk about Buildpacks. I like to say a lot, friends don't let friends use Dockerfile. And we know that there's two kind of flavors. We talked about, I think we call the Cloud Foundry Buildpacks V2, right? And yeah, you can go and find information about the Cloud Foundry Buildpacks. They've been around for a long time. But there's also this V3, the Cloud Native Buildpacks. And I like to kind of look down here. This is like the overarching story. We had Heroku's idea of Buildpacks, and then Pivotal brought in this V2 Buildpacks, and Heroku had their V2. And we're like, hey guys, like, why don't we like work together? And we came up with Cloud Native Buildpacks as a team together. And I'm going to use that to kind of kick us off.
So can we back up to that though? Let's
Yes.
start with your statement. Friends don't let friends write Buildpacks.
Yeah, why?
Why do we care about not letting people just be gun-ho and writing all kinds of different Docker files wherever they want, right? I'm sorry, I think I missaid it before, but friends don't let friends write Docker files, right?
Yeah.
So why is that the case?
Why? I have my opinions, but Anthony, you're the expert.
Yeah, sure. So the thing with the Dockerfile is that you always need to basically start from scratch, right? And you also need to maintain them. So, for example, the first statement in the Dockerfile is going to be from a given, base image. So this base image, you could choose it to be OpenJDK, or it could be a Debian or Ubuntu. Even you would install, you would do a run command, and then start installing the JRE or JDK that you want to use. So this is basically what most people are doing with Dockerfiles. The issue with that is that they will basically reinvent the wheel that has been basically created for them in the Buildpacks. For example, if you want your application inside your Docker image to be able to connect to enterprise services that are using their own corporate certificate issuer, for example, so their own SSL certificate file, then in your Dockerfile, you will need to actually indicate this, right? You will need to basically add the certificate and write basically all the configuration to make that work. And if you go to the Buildpack, if you go to the Paketo Buildpacks, you will see that there is a specific Buildpack to do that just for you. You just provide your files, and then it's going to be embedded properly. There are many other examples, such as SBOM generation. So you basically know that software bill of materials are being very important in most companies, in the sense that they allow you to basically have an identity card of what you're shipping. And once again, if you're using the Dockerfile, probably that you will need to basically gather all this information from all your dependencies and all the stuff that you embed, and then produce those files. Whereas, once again, in the Paketo Buildpacks, you have a Buildpack that is going to do this based on Sift, that is going to generate the SBOM for you. And there are many other examples, but I would like to finish with one example that is, of course, predominant, super important for us. It's the Spring Boot Buildpack. The Spring Boot Buildpack knows about Spring. And for example, when we were talking at the beginning of this discussion, DaShaun, when you were mentioning the Spring Club bindings, well, actually, Spring Club bindings, they are doing the magic to auto-inject credentials and URLs. And this Buildpack, the Spring Boot Buildpack, the core function of it is to basically inject you this library so that you don't even know that it's there, and magically it's going to work. But it does many other things in terms of optimization for Spring Boot. You probably heard about the CDS feature that was out in Spring Boot 3.3. Well, this is something that the Spring Boot Buildpack is going to help you enable automatically. So sure, yeah, you could continue using Docker files, but be careful to actually make sure that they are up to date in terms of the dependencies and the base image that they are using, and also good luck maintaining them. And
that is like a huge thing, and I don't think people grasp that. DaShaun and I with a large customer earlier this year, and one of their biggest things was yeah, we want to upgrade, but we have all these Docker files everywhere that are, like you said, starting from scratch, and there's no template for doing it, and they're all kind of maintained by different people across the organization, and it's we got to go maintain all of these now. We got to upgrade things, and we're not sure how to do that because there's no consistency across the org. So before you just run off and kind of do that, that's something you definitely need to think about.
Yeah, honestly, I have felt the pain myself before. Before joining the team, I was actually part of an architectural team in a big bank. And this is exactly what we could see, is that most teams, they had their own way of producing their own images with their own issues, So there was no way to actually make that coherent and something, that would allow developers going from one team to another, understanding what's going on. There were no basically, there was not a framework basically that made people use exactly the same thing. So, they just kept on reinventing the wheel, and that's wasted effort, I believe. And that's also pretty hard to maintain.
Yeah, like that makes sense. It's one less thing, first of all, for developers. It's one less thing that they should have to worry about. Like, do I have all the certs? Do I have all the things? Is this going to work on our platform? Am I checking all the boxes? Then, let alone the development of it, and then the maintenance of it, and the patching of it. Who has time for all that? And we didn't even talk about all of the magical things that are put in. The S-bombs, the bindings, all of those things that make it more 12-factor, platform native, cloud native, etc. Those are powerful features, and these are some of the reasons why we don't let friends use Dockerfile. Because
sorry.
Go ahead.
There's a comment here, and I just want to get your guys' thought on this. And this comment from John is, so it's an abstraction for Docker images. Well, what do you think of that?
I don't know what I call it, an abstraction.
Yeah, I don't know either, but this is an interesting comment because that reminds me of, there used to be a project, I can't remember who was behind this project, but there used to be in the Java space a project that would actually generate Docker files for you. I can't remember the name. But anyways, this is not, I know the question is about abstraction for Docker image, but I just was thinking about abstraction for Dockerfile. So this is not an abstraction for Dockerfile. And to talk about an abstraction for Docker image, I'm not exactly sure that's the right term, because they are still Docker images. The output is still a Docker image that we produce. I would say that it's another interface to offer Docker images.
I like that answer.
Yeah,
I like that answer. It's a way to deliver OCI images, but with the upstream support, the upstream maintenance, all the calculators, etc. And Anthony, you're the expert around the Java Buildpacks, but there's Buildpacks for all sorts of other tools, languages, etc. There's C#, there's Python, there's Ruby, Go, Node, etc. But we're here on the Spring office hours. We like Spring and we like Java, so that's why you're here. But it's not an abstraction over Docker images. It creates true OCI images.
Yes, that's correct. And as you said, there are other Buildpacks than just the Java Buildpacks. But the great thing across Buildpacks family languages, so you have mentioned Go, Node.js, PHP, and so on, is that there are some Buildpacks that are common to all those family languages. For example, the CA certificate Buildpack, you will find it not only in the Java Buildpacks, but in Node.js Buildpacks as well as Go Buildpacks as well. So this is also interesting, and this is something that I failed to mention earlier on, is that even if the different teams in your companies, they are not using exactly the same programming languages, they can actually reuse Buildpacks across them. So that once again, you will have a coherent set of images, even if they're not made from the same programming languages, they will have the same setting, good defaults.
Yeah. So one of the cool features when we have a organization that's not just delivering Java, they're delivering .NET and PHP, but the organization has the same set of certificates.
Yes.
That they want packaged with everything. Buildpack has this concept of multiple builders, a builder that has multiple Buildpacks, and it has two things that it does. The first one is the analyze phase. It'll look and determine which Buildpacks should I be including in this project, in this OCI image. And then it does the build phase where it builds using those Buildpacks. So if I'm in an organization that's delivering C# and PHP and Java, I can have a builder that has the C#, PHP, and Java Buildpacks in it, and our internal certificates for our mutual TLS. And that can be included in all of them. So in the analyze phase for that Buildpack, I can say, yes, add these certificates so that everybody in the organization that's running on the platform is getting all of the same certificates, no matter their language. And we can chain these build packs together. That's cool.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
that's
you
one
can't
of the
do
main
that with
advantages.
Dockerfiles.
No, with Dockerfile, it's pretty hard to reuse them across different languages. That's basically a different line to add. And even, for example, if we take again the example of the CS certificates, the CS certificates for Node.js and Java, they're not being added to the runtime the same way. So you need to, not only do the work once for one language, but twice for the other language as well. Whereas with Buildpacks, we actually solved that for you already. And we know exactly how it should be inserted into your runtime. So yeah, that's the main advantage of it.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And we already have some good questions. The first one I want to jump on is this one. And it's saying, hey, I wonder if there are any great support for using the Pack CLI in GitHub Actions, or if there's actually some more native Buildpack support. Simon answered it. Simon kind of pointed to, hey, here's a GitHub action that you can go use. But the cool thing with Maven and Spring Boot and Gradle, like we have a plugin that gets delivered with Spring Boot that allows you to build these images using Buildpacks. Maven, Spring Boot, Build Image is going to deliver an OCI image to your local environment. And you can use those in GitHub Actions.
Yeah, that's true. You have a choice, just like you said, there are different ways to consume the v3 Packero Buildpacks. So either you use the default tool, which is the Pack CLI, the open source Pack CLI, and of course you have GitHub Actions that provide you with the Pack CLI. But not only that, but if you just have, like you said, just a Maven runtime or a Maven or Gradle basically action, you just invoke directly the proper task, the proper goal, and then it will also generate it will start the whole build directly for your project. And of course, it's going to do it the best way it can. There's just one, I would say, a small difference between those two approaches is that when you use the Spring plugins, the Spring Boot plugins to create an OCI image using the Buildpacks, the Spring Boot plugins, they will first do the compilation themselves, right? So they will end up producing a jar, and then after that, they will start calling the Buildpacks to actually make this jar basically inside an OCI image with all the goodness that we've talked about. So this is when you're using the Spring Boot plugins. If you're using the Pack CLI, this is slightly different because Pack doesn't know how to build some Java code. So the first thing it's going to do is that it's going to add in the chain of dependencies of the Buildpack, it will add probably the Maven or the Gradle Buildpack that will do the job for itself. So basically, it's going to be, using the Pack CLI, you will basically compile the code from the Buildpacks. But if you're using the Spring Boot plugins, then the Spring Boot plugins will generate the jar before calling the Buildpacks. You see, so there's some kind of slight difference.
Right, and if we want consistency, right, that's not a slight difference. That's a pretty significant difference, right? We want to have this repeatable process, right? Yes. This is another benefit of the Buildpacks is I can use a Buildpack version. I can say, hey, use the Pack CLI, for example, and the output, if I run it again, it's going to be the exact same.
Yes, exactly. Of course, you would need to set the version of your builders and Buildpacks if you want it to be reproducible. Once again, if you're using latest, well, who knows what's going to happen? And to be honest, there is for the Packero Buildpacks, there are very, very frequent releases. So if you do not set the tag, if you just use latest, then there are high chances that from one day to another day, it's going to pull some over Buildpacks from the network. So yeah, you're right. If you want something reproducible, please set your versions.
I see another question, just kind of mentioning something you were. Do you have to use a specific build pack, or are you using Packero?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So in the world of the v3 Buildpacks, so first of all, Buildpacks is a CNCF project, and in the v3 Buildpacks, you have three main providers of Buildpacks. You've got the Packero Buildpacks that are being used by default by the Spring Boot project. and that were originated from Pivotal. And then you've got the Google Buildpacks that they use for obviously for Google Cloud. And then the third one is of course Heroku. And also Heroku, they maintain their own set of v3 Buildpacks. So those are three different families, and they have different implementation. Of course, we still follow exactly the same spec, but you wouldn't want to mix and match Buildpacks from different families because they probably are not. I mean, they're not designed to work with. Paketo Buildpacks are designed to work well with other Paketo Buildpacks. I mean, at least this is the way we test them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to choose your family first. And once you're good with your family, I mean, just stick to it if you're happy with it. But obviously, if you choose Google, it's probably because you deploy to Google Cloud. And if you choose Heroku, it's because you specifically want to deploy to Heroku. Paketo Buildpacks is another open source project, and we intend to make it usable in every and each use cases. We are not bound to a specific cloud platform.
Cool.
The Paketo Buildpacks are my favorite, for sure. So yeah, hey Ken, thanks for joining us. Glad you're finally here. So this is awesome. So we have some options. The Java Buildpacks do some extra stuff for us. Let's jump into one of my favorite topics. I like to use Raspberry Pis. Raspberry Pis are ARM64, and for a while I was needing to do some extra work. And thank you, Anthony, for all the hard work that you've done. Because one of the things that's available in the Paketo Buildpacks is we now have a base image or the stack that is multi-platform. So if I'm on ARM64, I'm going to get a stack that's compatible with ARM64. If I'm on x86, I will get that. And we get that from Paketo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. You're welcome. But actually, I would like to thank you first, DaShaun, because you have been one of the first community members to actually do that initial work, to discover what was needed to have dual stack Buildpacks. Of course, if you take a Buildpack such as the Maven Buildpack or the Graal Buildpacks, those one usually they're not really aware of the architecture, right? Because they're going to work fine. I mean, they're going to work fine on both x86 and ARM64. But some of your Buildpacks, such as Buildpacks providing a JVM, they need to be aware of the Arch. Otherwise, if you try to run them, for example, on a Raspberry Pi or on a Mac Silicon, then it's probably not going to work properly. Of course, Mac has their own virtualization to make it think it works fine, but usually you will take a big penalty hit when you're running anything x86 on a Mac Silicon. So yeah, the work was just, as you mentioned, having the two stacks. So basically the stacks are like the base images that we are using. So one needed to be Ubuntu ARM64, the other Ubuntu x86 64. And then obviously, like I just mentioned, the Buildpacks that were actually bound to the architecture, we had to provide them in two fashions. And this is really cool because the way the Docker CLI and also registries work, it's pretty fine because you can just publish to one tag only and have both architecture included in the manifest. So this is exactly what we have done for most of the Buildpacks. At least for all the Java Buildpacks, they are all published as dual arch now. So that's if amazing. You have a dual stack, a dual arch stack, a dual arch builder, and you're using the Java Buildpack, then yeah, you've got the full story for ARM64 as well as x86 64.
So that is
that's awesome,
fantastic, and it really, right, with Raspberry Pis have been around for a long time, but it really kind of hit my radar with the Apple Silicon, right? The M1, M2, M3, and developers trying to do the Maven Spring Boot build image, and that wasn't available, or it was taking 40 minutes to do with the virtualization and all this stuff. And that wasn't good. That wasn't good for our friend Josh to do on stage. That wasn't good for our friend Oliver on all the things that they're doing. So yeah, we worked, and now there's no, like, it's all upstream, and we can do this, and there's massive benefits to that, right? Now, again, we have options, right? Whether we're running in our data center or going to the cloud. We have options. And yeah, ARM64 is one of those that now we can use with our cool Buildpacks under the covers. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and to be honest, it was the #1 requested feature back in 2023 already.
Yep,
So
we were doing the
this is why,
roadmap. I mean,
exactly.
I don't know how many
Yeah,
thousands of people were requesting that to be put on the roadmap, but
yeah, that was
definitely.
huge. Yeah, and well, the interesting thing also is that, of course, we have mentioned the Silicon Macs as well as the Raspberry Pi that are on ARM, but also some cloud providers, they come up with their own dedicated ARM64 architecture. I mean,
Yeah.
their own ARM64 machines that they provide to you.
Yep.
And now you can benefit from actually this feature of being able, to be full ARM64. And so that, you can deploy on AWS Graviton and you have something that is cheaper to run, actually.
Yeah. So AWS has the Graviton, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Azure and Oracle, they both use Ampere. Does Google use Ampere as well? But they all have a ARM64 flavor. I think that Google also uses Ampere. And funny is that I was actually using Oracle's cloud to build my ARM64 build packs for a long time. So it's great. We've come so far, and now, you want to hear something really crazy? I think the last time that you asked how many downloads of the build pack that I do, I think we had just hit 9,000 or something last time you asked. The last time I looked, it had hit I'm gonna go look. I'm not gonna say it was over 30,000 last time I looked.
I was gonna say 1 million.
I mean, not that high, but for something
that's pretty awesome.
It was pretty
so cool,
exciting for me. I'll say. I gotta find out what it is because it was 30,000. It had double, tripled. So I'm gonna go find out just because you're here and I'm proud of it.
Love it.
But this is cool. It's growing. We're moving in the right direction. The adoption is growing. You got a question?
I do have another question here from Charlie. Is there an easy way to use a base image? So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a great question. The Paketo build packs, they are all based on Ubuntu. So we used to have Ubuntu Bionic, and then we switched to Ubuntu Jammy. And I've seen someone also ask a question about Ubuntu Novel. That's coming. But yeah, they're all based on Ubuntu base images. I mean, our stacks are all based out on Ubuntu base images. Now, there's nothing preventing you to create your own stack. And this is where that gets interesting, because basically the stack provides the base OS. So once again, we're using Ubuntu by default in Paketo. But there's nothing preventing you to actually come up with your own stack, and you can base it from distroless distribution. And then you can continue using the Paketo build packs on top of it. Because it's kind of recent, but it was done during the last year, where the Java build packs, they used to be bound to a specific stack, but now we're just being bound to to the wildcard. So basically, we don't really care about the stack image that you're running on. So yes, you can, but there's some work involved. You need to provide your own. You need to provide your own stack.
Yeah, and I've got a good repo. One of the things that Buildpacks allow, it's a specification. It's open, so you can go and generate your own Buildpacks. One of the fun projects that I did was a COBOL Buildpack. Go to cloudnativecobol.com, and that'll point you to the GitHub repository where you can see how you can build your own Buildpacks and do the analyze phase and the build phase. So you can figure out how to do that, and you can do some really, really interesting things. I'm trying to think. I know that I've got one customer example that'll pop to my mind of things that they're doing inside of Buildpacks. But we talked about SBOMs, certificates, the telemetry, and all the other things, the automatic binding. There's tons of really interesting things that we can do inside of these Buildpacks. I got the number. My builder is over 43,000 downloads.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
That's crazy to me. 10,000 more than the last time I looked. But we touched on Anthony's question and Noble. This is an interesting thing. I like to participate. I like to, I see how well this is moving. And on the Spring side, we're constantly talking about grabbing the latest versions and being on the latest versions for all the reasons, the performance benefits, all the improvements that are being made upstream. We want to take those to production. We want to get that. And Ubuntu is moving. The 2404, I'm not sure if that's a LTS release or not, but there are people that are consuming it. There are people that want to take advantage of the stuff that's coming down the pipe, right? Just like Java 23 is not an LTS version, the benefits that are provided in Java 23 could save my company millions of dollars between now and Java 24. So that idea of being on the latest and greatest, getting all those benefits, that's interesting. And what's the plan, if you can share, like what does that look like for Buildpacks going forward?
So for a package, inside the package Buildpack organization, I'm mostly involved with the Java Buildpacks, right? And the Java builders and so on and so forth. But Stack, not really. Those are other people. They're aware of it and they are working on it. So I assume Noble is going to be out pretty soon. I assume it's going to be out pretty soon because it's an LTS. So that would definitely make sense. Of course, for Stacks, we are not going to adopt each and every Ubuntu version. We are only going to focus on LTS because that would be kind of how to actually maintain all the stacks. But yeah, I assume it's going to be done. But don't take my word for it. I really hope it's going to be done, but I am not sure of it. There's something also that I would like to answer you about. You've mentioned Java 23. Actually, it's part of Bearsoft Liberica Buildpack since Friday evening. So
That's amazing. So it came out on Tuesday. It was in the Buildpack on Friday.
Exactly.
Thank you, partners.
It's not part of a composite yet. It's going to be part of the next. But anyways, if you know how to, you can manually use it right now. Yep. It's going to be automatic at the end of this week. So this is kind of the policy that we have. At least I can talk about Java because this is a specialty inside the package Buildpacks team. But for Java, what we choose to do is that we only keep one non-LTS version, just the latest. So right now, when we added 23, we removed 22. We just, And then, of course, the LTS will all keep them. They're always in there.
Got it. So interesting, because Java 21 is not an LTS release, but it has LTS features. So Java 21 will still be in, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. 21. Honestly, we go back to JDK 8. We're not going to remove JDK 8 either because 8, 11, 17, 21 we are LTS. We know that people might depend on those, so we definitely keep them.
One of my hobbies lately, because I talk about upgrading and my kids joke about being stuck on Java 8. One of my hobbies is checking out the new releases of Java 8. Do you know how many builds there are of Java 8?
No.
Without looking.
I don't know.
422.
Jeez.
We had the release party last week. That's why it's top of mind. And I was checking to make sure it was still the same number. 422 different builds of Java 8. Like, thank you, upstream. Thank you, Oracle team, for keeping it kicking and putting out these releases. But also, like, if you're on build 422 of Java 8, like, you're clearly able to take updates. Why not upgrade to something better? That's all. I'll get off my soapbox. That's all I'm asking.
No, but actually, this is a pretty interesting topic because also internally we are close to Bearsoft Liberica, and we are basically also considering being able to bring to the table the performance JDK 8 and 11 from Bearsoft.
Oh, that would be cool.
And those, so those performance JDKs. From what I understand, what they did is that they picked up the performance feature from 17 and 21, and they backported them to 11 and 8. So
say that one more time for the people in the back.
I'm just saying that Bearsoft Liberica, they have. So I don't think they are open source. They are free to use JDKs. I don't know the exact terms, but they have what they call performance GREs, performance JDKs, that are for Java 8 and Java 11, and to make them performant, they backported features from Java 17 and Java 21 back into 8 and 11. So this is one of the things that part of
super cool.
trying to make performance builds, we are also looking into.
That's huge. So Dan and I got to sit down with Bellsoft and our friend
Say,
Pasha
friends
over
of the
there.
friends of the show for
Yeah,
sure.
Pasha's been on. We like it. I like to be able to use supported stuff, especially when they're continuing to build and improve. But that topic came up of these performance versions. I like to say that JVMs are one size fits most, right? Where, hey, this is going to work for most of your workloads are going to be able to work with pretty much any JVM. But there's kind of a better fit for some workloads. Like you have some reason that you can't upgrade to Java 23. I understand that things happen. But wouldn't it be cool if you could stay on Java 8 and get some of the benefits that have been put into Java 23? Ooh, that's crazy. That's awesome. To see that in Buildpacks, I would do a happy dance. I'm not gonna lie, I would do a happy dance. We would celebrate. We would have a special episode just for that because it would be worth it.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem. Also, I wanted to, there was a question. I think somebody asked, I'm not sure that we got the answer to that. Somebody asked about the possibility to use some other stacks than but Ubuntu. Then I said, yeah, you can have your own. And I think there was another question about, does it exist over stacks already maintained by the community? I just wanted to say that I know that there are some Red Hat people who are actually working on their own stack, and it's based on UBI, obviously. And but does exist. Red Hat are doing their own stacks. That's true.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that URL github.com. It's a Paketo-community Buildpacks, I think.
I could find it, I guess.
But I'll put that in the chat. But yeah, there are tons of others that are out there, and yeah, and there's reason. Where's the community one?
Yeah, it's Paketo community /UBI Java Buildpack. Yeah, it's in there.
So this is awesome stuff. So you have options. I'm going to put the whole repo that includes all of the other community-driven build packs.
Yes.
I had a quick question for you, Anthony. One of the things that impressed me, just from like using it 2 years ago to kind of using it now, one of the things I've seen that maybe that first run is a little bit slower when we're building that image. That second run seems to be like really, really fast. And I know there's some things happening there. Can you kind of tell us what's happening there? Because sometimes, I don't know, as a developer, like first impression is everything, right? So you may run it and go, well, this is a lot. I don't know if I want to wait that long. But I promise you it gets much faster, and there are probably reasons for that.
That's a great question.
That's true. So obviously the answer to your question, Dan, is caching. Yes, there is caching involved in the spec of Buildpack v3. So the way it works is that once again you've got a participation of many Buildpacks in a single build, and each of those Buildpacks is able to actually mark the produce layer as something to be cached for the future. So at the end of your first successful build, the cache will be built basically. So when you're going to rerun on the same machine, most of the Buildpacks, they won't do much. They're just going to make the assertion. I mean, they will just check that nothing has changed. And if that's the case, they just move on. They just retrieve the cache and move on to the next Buildpack. So most Buildpacks, yes, they do caching aggressively. Of course, the most interesting, I mean, the caches that are the most useful are the caches from JVM providers, such as the Liberica Buildpack, because of course, it's putting 200 megs every time, so it has to be cached. And then, of course, your Maven or Gradle build also needs to be cached because it's consuming CPU cycles. So at least those two, that's for sure, they do support caching.
Yeah.
But also, the first time that you're running it, the build packs are v3 build packs are stored in a Docker registry. They're pulling down as like Docker images, Docker layers that you can use. And so there's that pull down first. But we talked about JVMs. We talked about one size fits most. We talked about Bellsoft performance ones. But like, what if I'm not using Bellsoft? What if I'm using another JVM? How easy is it for me to switch to another JVM provider with Buildpacks?
Actually, it's So it's it should have been. I mean, we wanted it to be as easy as just changing an environment variable, but that's not the case, unfortunately. So basically, you can control the version of your JVM. So 11, 17, 21, 23, you can use an environment variable to choose that. But unfortunately, for choosing a different JVM provider, so for example, as part of the Paketo Buildpacks community, we maintain Bearsoft, Amazon Corredo, Alibaba, SAP, so on and so forth, at least 6 or 7 JVMs, probably the most popular JVMs, Microsoft as well. Anyways, we all maintain them, but they're not included by default in your build plan. So you have to specify. So in your configuration, when you start, so either that you're using the Spring Boot plugins or using the Pack CLI, you will need to specify the name of your the name of the build pack that's going to provide the JVM. And once you do this, then it's going to be taken. I mean, we won't use the default of Bearsoft, which is included by default. We're going to replace it by, for example, Amazon Corredo, if you have specified Amazon Corredo. So yeah, this is definitely a powerful feature. Many people are using that, I know. I mean, once again, for example, if you are bound with AWS, then you will want everything to be provided by AWS, and then you will want to use Corredo, for example, for your JVM. And this is something that you can do, yeah. Unfortunately, once again, it's not as easy as just providing an environment variable. It's slightly more involved because you need to give the name of a build pack, basically.
But if I'm doing this as a part of my CI, right, I can configure my CI that makes Corredo the default, right?
Yes.
I can create my builder in that way to, hey, when you're doing Java, use this one.
That's true.
Yeah, we have other, right? Azul's super popular and we're friends with that
Azul,
group, right? I've done demos like, hey, you want to change it? I built a CLI that would just automatically switch all the configs because I don't have my default CI. If I want to change my POM file to use that different builder, sweet. I have a little CLI that I made with Spring Shell that'll just modify my POM file.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can automate that. That's true.
We have options. This is fantastic. I love what we do, and the Java ecosystem keeps on getting better. And this is just another example. Thank you so much. This is great. Now, if there's one thing that is like a cheat code, if somebody's familiar with Buildpacks, what's the thing that even people that are familiar with Buildpacks don't probably know that gets the light bulb moment for you when you're talking about Buildpacks? I mean, beyond the multi-architecture stuff.
That's interesting. I think so. Basically, here you're talking about underrated feature that people don't necessarily know about. What I do like is, I actually wrote a blog post, but that was like 6 months ago, where I was actually trying out different combination, and also basically I was trying to assemble a plan manually myself using a build pack that I just built on my machine. So basically, there's a way it's kind of pretty easy to actually hack the plan and insert your own build pack that you just recently built yourself and to be part of the plan. So this is something that that all the build packs are written with the Go language. I mean, all the V3 build packs are written in Go. And what you can do is that you can just compile a build pack of yours directly on your machine in Go, and then you can actually start a build in another shell. You can start a build that's going to rely directly on this Go executable without going through a Docker image. So, I mean, it's mostly a wow moment for me as a developer. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I don't need to publish it and so on. I mean, it can all stay local. Yep. So I remember that I was pretty nicely surprised when I see this. I wish I had a better answer for a user. I don't know.
That actually made me think of something. One of the questions I get a lot is, and I kind of know the answer to this, but I want to let you answer it anyways. So we have different ways to produce artifacts for different runtimes, right? So we're building our Spring Boot app. We use an OCI image here. This is what we can go deploy somewhere. What we have different ways to produce artifacts for different runtimes, right? So we're building our Spring Boot app. We use an OCI image here. This is what we can go deploy somewhere. What we have different ways to produce artifacts for different runtimes, right? So we're building our Spring Boot app. We use an OCI image here. This is what we can go deploy somewhere. one of the questions is like, oh, there's also this GraalVM native thing, right? So I want to create this native executable because in certain environments, that's better. It's lower memory consumption. It starts up faster. Is there a possibility of me creating an OCI image off of a native image as well? Because native images don't always run in every environment that we're trying to deploy to, right?
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, definitely. Then we support GraalVM native image.
Cool.
So the way it works is that basically we try to get, from the source code that is provided to us, we try to understand if the user wants to build with GraalVM or not. So in the case of Spring Boot, if, for example, you're using Gradle and you have, if in Gradle you have configured the native plugin, I think that's the name, a native plugin in your Gradle build, then to us, this is a hint. This is a hint that you want to basically build a native image. And from that, we'll take a different path of a normal path that provides a normal JVM. We'll go to a path that is going to download this time a GraalVM runtime. So if you're using Bellsoft, they are called NIC, Native Image Kit. So we're going to download the Bellsoft NIC. And then with it, we will compile your application, and then we will do the GraalVM native compilation. So of course, you have to be prepared to wait for quite some time because it's a long process. But at the end, this is what's going to be provided. But inside your OCI image, you won't see a JVM. You will just see this fat binary.
And what that means is we have a smaller image, a smaller OCI image.
Yeah.
And if I'm deploying it to 1,000 places around the globe, that 500 megabytes savings of my OCI images, that adds up.
Yeah, and also it's super fast to start. That's
right.
Well,
that came up because I came across an issue with that where it's like I wanted to deploy a Spring Boot app to AWS Lambda because I wanted that faster startup, that lower memory consumption, but they don't just let you pop executables into their environment like native executables, right?
That's weird.
But they
AWS
do allow
doesn't let you do that.
Yeah. So they do let you deploy, some type of image that you can just run. So in that case, that'd be a perfect environment for that. So
yeah, that's interesting, Dan, because as far as I remember from AWS Lambda, I remember that we support zip deployment as well as also OCI. Docker images deployment as well. So
yes,
interesting.
Yes, yeah, but I think I don't know. I was messing with it at one point, but that's pretty good to know. So just for our friends out there who are using GraalVM, and as you should, just know that you can still use this with that. So
one of the hot, cool things that got added to Spring Boot 3.3 is class data sharing support. And another gift that we got in the Java ecosystem from the team over at the Buildpacks is the class data sharing support is built in. And what that means is that my normal Spring Boot app, I have some options, and I've always had some options. I can do some things. I can do Maven clean package build a jar, and I can start it, java-jar, start the package. But there's another kind of step that I can actually extract that jar file and make it start up a little bit faster. We've been able to do that. We've been doing that in the Buildpacks for a long time, where it, as a part of the Buildpack process, it'll extract the jar so you have a little bit faster startup than just using the jar file and then having to expand it when you deploy. But now with class data sharing, we have even more. Yes. With class data sharing, the Buildpack actually does the extraction, and then it's throwing the flag. This is, hey, go ahead and do a training run on this extracted jar and save that as a class data sharing archive. This is all done for me inside of the Buildpack. It takes an extra 5 seconds during build time, but my startup time rivals the native image startup time. I've been doing demos where I'm getting startup times in like 700 or 600 milliseconds.
Yes.
This is amazing.
Yeah, that's true. So I strongly recommend everybody interested in Spring Performance to follow what Sébastien Deleuze is doing, because he's been the one who actually brought up the GraalVM native images to Spring, and then he moved on to see other options such as Crack as well as CDS. So CDS has his preference. basically. And as you said, the idea is that CDS is an old feature from Java, but now we can actually use it directly in your application. So basically, you can cache, you can pre-cache classes that are going to be used at runtime. So this is why the training run is going to happen. And yes, that's right, DaShaun, we support that inside the Spring Boot Buildpack now. We can do a training run of your application. And once basically you've done this, then that's true that your application is going to start faster. But there's also more to this story, and this is more part of the Tenzu platform, because there's some extra configuration to provide to CDS sometimes when you connect to external services, and the Tenzu platform is actually going to help you out, figure out those configuration bits and do that automatically for you. So basically, CDS with Tenzu platform is completely integrated. You don't have to do anything. But if you stick to open source Spring Boot and Buildpacks, you still have a way to use CDS as long as you configure it properly.
So cool. So cool. Kat joined us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you so much. We're happy that you're here. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, the feeling is mutual.
Yeah,
Buildpacks
for sure.
loves Bellsoft as well. This is great. We're doing good things. So that's what I have. Oh, I was going to put the blog or the latest blog from Sebastian, who has just been a plethora of gifts for me. And I feel like
Christmas come early.
I feel like sometimes the spring team is doing things just for me. Like they know how much I would enjoy the things that they're working on. And sometimes it feels like it's done just for me. And it gets me through the whole week. Anthony, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I hope that for everybody that this was a good session. I'm excited about Buildpacks. Friends don't let friends use Dockerfile for all the reasons that we talked about. And you don't have to use the defaults. You can change these Buildpacks and use them, as you see fit. And if you need help, you know how to get a hold of us. You can call us.
Yeah, that's a good point, Anthony. For those who want to be able to get a hold of you, how can we find you on the internet without asking ChatGPT? I would like to just go directly.
Of course, yeah, that's definitely a good point, actually, Dan, because I know that ChatGPT like a year or two ago it was stuck on very old versions of Pack and Paketo, so it wasn't super useful at that time, because that moves rapidly. So yeah, Paketo.io is the one place that you need to remember, because from there you'll be able to join our Slack community, and then also you'll be able to join the GitHub community as well as GitHub discussions. So you'll be able to actually follow what's going on and ask your questions and find support. So definitely Paketo.io is the place where you want to be.
Cool.
Edu brings up a hidden feature. This is one of the things that I've done quite a bit. Is I like to do the .sdkmanrc file for all my projects. So I just say, hey, here's the version that I want to use. So in my repository, I can say I want to use Corretto instead of Azul, and I can download with SDKman. I can download the proper JDK. So instead of the platform deciding, hey, here's what I'm using, I can leave that decision up to the developer. But all they have to do is the .sdkmanrc file. And then the cool thing about that is I might have an open rewrite recipe to update that SDKmanrc file automatically across all my repositories. So if I want to stay on Java 8, but I want to get build 4.23 when it comes out, I can do that. I can automate that, and I can just have it a part of my SDKmanrc file. These are cool things. Edu, thanks for bringing that up. That is
that's definitely a good point. And actually, I can tell you a little story about actually choosing the right version of a JVM. So there is an open issue that has been going for a while in the Paketo community, is basically, why don't we auto-detect the version of the JVM? So for example, if you have a build pack of Bellsoft that supports all different versions of the JVM, but defaults to 17, and that in your POM you set 21, why are we going to still use 17 for you? And it's kind of pretty interesting, this issue, because it would actually make us try and guess how your POM or your build.gradle is being configured. And unfortunately, there's not just one way to set that up in your POM or build.gradle. So the only way that we would be able to do this is basically run run a JVM to understand your POM and or your Gradle file to actually find out what is the version.
Parse it and figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can't do this, right? Because at this step, we still don't have a JVM available, so we can't really do this. And actually, the SDK main RC is a way to actually circumvent this, because when you set your SDK main RC, you basically just say, this is what I want. And then this is something that we know is the proper source of truth. And SDK main RC is kind of, normalized. It's always the same format, easy to pass. Of course, we're going to provide you the feature. But unfortunately for POM and Beyond.Gradle, that's slightly more involved. So unfortunately, we don't do that yet.
So cool.
Awesome. Well, that was fun. Thank you, Anthony, so much for joining us. That was a great discussion. And again, if people want to find you, paketo.io, join the discussion, ask your questions, follow along, see what's going on. And yeah, we'll definitely have to have you back and talk more about this. And hopefully I will see you in Montreal soon. That'd be another welcome treat.
I know I will.
Yeah, you will come in October, right? October 9th.
I'm coming in October.
All right.
I'll be at the Montreal JUG.
Yes, exactly.
I got to get back to Confu with the wonderful food and a pool on top of a hotel where people are swimming in the middle of winter. It's all kinds of fun.
That's amazing.
Thank you very much, guys, for having me. That was a true honor to be part of the show. That was really nice.
Oh, the pleasure is ours.
Yes,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Perfect.
We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.